everybody. We're back.
Yay.
Right?
Yes.
Yay.
Episode 5.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Where does the time go?
We got a busy schedule ahead of us, so why don't you start with some introductions?
Sure. I'm Barb. I'm with River City Yarns in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and this is my sister,
Cynthia.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We own a little local yarn shop here,
Mm-hmm.
and we're our podcast is all about knitting and yarn and things that are happening in our store events.
Right.
And
A little
and
bit
things.
about being a yarn shop owner as well.
Right. Yeah.
Because we think people might like to know a bit about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that today.
Yeah.
How sore my feet were.
It's a really hot day today.
It's right in
Yeah.
Edmonton, yeah.
Yeah.
We
But-
just finished having a thunderstorm and lots of rain.
Yeah.
So
But now we're wearing cowls because the air conditioning is on.
yes, that's right. It's only mildly hot in here.
So before we start to pour sweat down from our face, the reason why we're wearing these is because we're going to start off today by just talking about things that we finished this week.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was one of them. We showed these last week. This was the cowl, the Peaks
Yeah.
and Ridges cowl that Ann Budd designed for us. And we kind of hacked it
Right.
out of a gradient pack of Eden, and it was such a fun thing to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you did to your
Okay.
cowl.
So all I did was I took the pattern and put a few rows of garter stitch ridges in between each one of the pattern repeats where I changed colors.
Did you
So, yeah.
Did you change
Yeah.
the number of stitches that you? Aw, you look so cute.
There, now you can see the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think it would be great to wear it like this in the winter time, right? You
Yeah.
could wear it as a little hood.
Yeah. So did you change the number of stitches that you cast on?
Yes, I think I cast on 145 stitches.
Okay, so
And
about
I think the cowl calls for 160.
something like that. You have to buy the pattern to find out for sure.
And
but
I-
you cast on fewer.
Mm-hmm. And I put all the modifications on Ravelry.
Perfect.
So they're there if anybody wants to look.
And on Ravelry, you are
Knitty in the City.
KNITTY in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Knitty in
good,
the City.
good.
Yeah, so tell us about yours.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take it off.
Okay. Me
There
too.
we go. Yeah, because it's warm. So I did a similar kind of thing. I cast on about 40 less stitches, I think. Again, I've got notes on Ravelry, but I cast on quite a few less. And I used a 4mm needle, so a needle that I thought was appropriate to the size of the yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did my gradient colorway. I started down here. And I followed the pattern. I didn't put garter stitch. You put a nice row of garter stitches in between each
Right.
of the pattern repeats. And what I did was just follow the pattern in terms of how it went. But I went from light to dark and then back to light. And then I was on my way back to dark again when I decided the cowl was tall enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was time to stop. And then the other thing I did was just make sure that I ended each color sequence with the row where you put the strand across, so that on the next row you'd pull that color up into the row above.
So you can really see that too, where you've done that. You've got a lighter strand into the darker
Yeah.
stripe.
Yeah,
That's really pretty.
I thought it would help to kind of break up the stripes a little bit.
We're all sold out of that now.
Are we? Of
Yeah, I
HyaCynth?
think that was one of the first colors to go.
But we do have some gradient packs left.
A few left.
Yeah. That was a really fun flash mob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So and Bud commented on my Ravelry page.
Oh, we're such fangirls of Ann Budd. Hi, Ann.
Yeah. So that was really fun, and you should do it. You should try it out.
Yeah.
Peaks and Ridges cowl. You can we've said you can do it in any yarn you want. Originally done in Adam and Eve,
Mm-hmm.
but we just did it in a light worsted, and you might just have to cast on fewer stitches, or you might have a bigger cowl.
But if you get a chance to try this yarn, it's amazing. It's
Right.
so beautiful to knit
Yeah.
with.
Merino cashmere nylon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got so much spring and bounce.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
It is gorgeous.
Okay,
All right.
so
So you've used it again. You have
Yes.
another work in progress. Tell us about that
So
one.
I've been busy. I actually got my mittens done. So this is another hack. This is Ann Budd's. I think I have this thing for mittens because this is my second pair.
This
But
is
this is our
heavenly.
heavenly mitten pattern, and this is the plaid cuff that I kind of got from the class that we went to when we were in Minneapolis.
Nice.
So I designed a little cuff for them.
So they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
So what yarns did you use for the cuff?
This is Eden.
Yeah, okay.
3 different colorways of Eden. And then this is the hands Eden.
Okay, so did you use the same color in the cuff that you used in the hand?
Mm-hmm. Okay. One of them, yeah. And then the other one is, I forget, Heavenly, I think.
Okay.
And River was the third color. Again, that's, I think all the info's in Ravelry.
Okay, so when you were doing the plaid cuff, what you were looking for is a color that was significantly lighter. And,
right.
Well, actually, you used this colorway as your darkest color.
Right.
River was a medium color, and Winter would be a light color.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, those are really spectacular, Barb.
Well, and the thing that's so great about them is the inside.
Is that Kid Silk Haze?
Kid Silk Haze stripe.
Right.
I think we may be one of the only yarn shops that has any of this left.
It's a limited edition yarn,
yeah,
which is yarn shop owners speak for discontinued. They've decided to change out their colorways, and so they've dropped Kid Silk Haze stripe, which is, you know, kind of disappointing in a way, but that means that Rowan will come out with something different.
Yeah. So that's the inside, and it's just like a little cloud to put your hand into. It's really nice and soft.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then you've got a class coming up on this one as well.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to teach a class on how to do Heavenly Mittens.
Right.
The cuff adaptation, maybe you'll...
Well, I think we should have a class on how to knit plaid too. I mean, that's kind of one of the things that we do here. We were going to talk about samples, right? Mm-hmm. How a lot of our samples are done because we do workshops around them, not necessarily because we want to do a sample for the yarn, but more about what we want to knit for workshops. They drive a lot of what we do.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So,
well, speaking of yarns, again, we had another yarn that wasn't moving quite as well because it just lacked
people didn't
patterning.
know what to do with it.
It's called Big Disc. This is a leftover ball. It comes originally in a big disc, and it's a double-stranded yarn. So you could use the strands singly if you wanted to pull it apart, or you can use them doubled up together. And so I decided to take on the challenge and try to find something, what inspired me about this yarn. I really like the variegation of it. Big Disc it's rolled up and dyed so that as you knit it, the dye stripes change. So the yarn is constantly changing as you knit it. And I thought it would be really cool to try it in another Tin Can Knits pattern. Right. So I did this one. Let me just move my coffee cup over here.
I'll hold it for you.
This is a Tin Can Knits design called Prairie Fire. And it's, again, it's a top-down design, raglan, and it's got this beautiful lace panel inside, and the lace panel wraps around to the back.
Yeah.
But I think if you show the back, you can really see how this yarn is changing. I used the shortest dye repeats at the top because the top would be the smallest amount of knitting, and I figured it would kind of stay the same as I went down.
So up here.
Yeah. But as it got wider, and then it's just the way it's coming off the ball.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
And look at the back. Like you almost got the flash going on back here, right?
Right. So here's what's happening. There's 3 things that are happening here that I think are really cool. One is that you get that variegated color appearance at the top of the sweater, the back. And then you get the pooling that happens. And I sometimes think of this as the wood grain effect. So in the middle is that pooling that's happening. And then at the bottom is color stacking. And that's when your colors line up right on top of each other. So that it doesn't become pooling anymore. It becomes actual stacking.
Vertical lines, yeah. You have to have just the right number of stitches to get that, right?
Yeah. And I mean, or you have to have the right yarn. So this yarn, because of the way that it's dyed, will do all those things for you. Even if you were to just knit the same number of stitches over and over again, because the dye striping changes on the ball, you're going to get different types of color interactions. So I just thought that was really cool. And if you look at the lace side, I think that the lace, you can still see the lace, even though it's variegated, gives it a bit of interest. And for the knitter, it gives you a bit of interest because otherwise you'd just be knitting a stockinette stitch sweater, and what fun is that, right? So I put that on top of this is I knit the size 4 to 6
Rachel.
sweater, and then I stole some jeans and a t-shirt out of Rachel's wardrobe, and I just thought that would make a really cool little outfit for her in the fall.
So cute.
So it'll be a store sample until maybe September or October, and then it'll end up in Rachel's wardrobe.
Right. So what was this yarn called again?
This is Big Disc.
By Shuffle?
You know what? Let me grab the... I will grab a ball of it.
Okay.
And we'll take a look at it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
We're back.
I ran and got a ball.
Yes. So here we go. This is Big Disc.
Right. Yeah. So this is what I mean when you pull from the center of this kind of flat ball, you'll end up with really short stretches of color. Yeah.
It looks just like a frisbee,
right?
doesn't it?
And when you get to the outside edge of the ball, you're going to get longer and longer
Stripes.
more and more stitches out of each color. Yeah. So there's some
cool.
really interesting colors. No two discs are the same because each one is dyed individually.
Wow.
But they'll all give you kind of the same effect.
It almost looks like it's been dipped into dye, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, so it was just kind of fun. But this is, again, we thought about talking about some of the things that shop owners need to think about. And so we brought this in because it was so cool. I think when you bought it, I said, oh, that's really, really interesting. But it didn't come with any patterning. And we were kind of expecting the company to come out with some patterning, and maybe they have, but it just was sitting on the shelf. And we thought, what can we do with it? Mm-hmm. We need to always be doing samples to kind of inspire people.
That's really pretty.
Yeah.
So you did a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It didn't take very long. It's a quick knit, and I was also looking for a pattern that I could use one ball for. This is a 150 gram ball. It has over 400 meters on it. Wow. So I went through Tin Can Knits, picked the biggest size I could do with the amount of yarn that I had.
And you still got that much left over.
So I think this would make a really cute hat for Rachel. You know our pattern. It's knit from the top down, and I thought I could put that little lace panel in the hat too.
Oh, cute.
That would look really cute. So yeah, there's plenty of yarn in there for whatever project you want to do.
Nice.
All right, we'll put this away.
What's on next?
And we'll move into our next topic.
Okay.
Yeah. Whew. So we had to take a little break and turn up the air conditioning because I started to get really warm. That's because it's summer.
Yeah.
And in the summer, again, that's another question we get asked a lot. What do you knit when it's hot outside?
Well, yeah, we've been doing a lot of summer knitting, I think, in the last 2 or 3 years. We've been bringing in more and more cottons and non-wool yarns because people like to knit all the time,
right?
Summer or winter.
Right.
Yeah. So what have you got on the needles?
Well, I have socks. I always have socks on the needles, but I really think socks are a great thing to knit in the summertime because they're small and they don't take up a lot of space. Yeah.
You can have a pair in your car.
Right? Yeah. And and you're not covered with a big heavy sweater or a blanket or something like that. And I do like to use wool when I knit socks. It's sort of my
So show us what you got.
Sure. Well, why don't you show us this one first because it's sitting on my lap.
All right.
It's kind of like our works in progress, and you just happen to have a pair of socks in there.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay,
those are so...
Susan B. Anderson's coming here in November.
Yes.
And so she has the Smooth Operator sock pattern. Mm-hmm. And so I decided I was going to try that out. I had a ball of Angry Birds. Does this look like Angry Birds?
Totally Angry Birds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So here's my one finished Smooth Operator sock. I should have put it on a blocker to really show it off.
Oh, we could. We do happen to have them here in the store.
Mm-hmm.
So the nice thing about the Smooth Operator heel is that it fits in nicely when you're working with a striped yarn.
Yeah.
Right? And what you've got here is a striped yarn. So your heel, you just kind of pop it in, and you can insert it. You've inserted it in the middle of a stripe here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you pick that place on purpose, or it just worked out that way?
I think kind of sort of plan it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But that was the size of my foot that I needed. So
right. The sort of the downside of this kind of round heel is that it doesn't have as much give across the instep.
I know.
So sometimes
it just doesn't fit me the best. I still like the old traditional heel flap.
Right.
but
On the
I think
next
she's got a
one.
modification for that though.
Yeah, well, so Susan B. Anderson has done some different things, like increase the number of rows that you do before you start to decrease, which creates a bit of a more opening for the heel.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be kind of interesting to take Lucy Neepy's approach and add it to Susan B. Anderson's approach.
Oh, what's
So
that?
Lucy Neepy says instead of taking 50% of the stitches, which most people do, use 60% of the stitches. So it makes your heel a bit wider. And you have more stitches and more decreasing. So
Does that
might
give
be
you
something to try.
more room across the instep though?
I think it should, because theoretically you have more stitches on your needles for your heel, and when you're decreasing, so this distance,
Mm-hmm.
this distance right from here to here would be bigger, and so that would make the distance from the top of your instep to the bottom of your heel bigger as well.
Oh.
So that's Lucy Neepy's little trick in her sock book. And, I think that's a good thing about trying a whole bunch of different heels, is that then you can combine different people's approaches.
And pick the one that you like the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
So I'm sure that these will fit somebody in my family.
For sure. The young people in your families
Yeah.
tend to have narrower insteps, and so
Right.
they can get that. Now, do you recognize this, Barb?
Yes. Look
So
at that.
you got some sock blanks made. They're just knitted tubes,
Yeah.
and you dyed it.
Sabrina and I had a dye day.
And then
It was fun.
you gave this to me for
Is it for
Christmas or my birthday
Yeah.
or something. So I'm knitting them up into socks.
Look at how nice they're turning out.
Isn't that
So
cool?
pretty. Let me
So
them up
hold
for you.
those up, and then I'll hold these up underneath them. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if they're attached.
And what are you going to do with the little? Is this going to be your heel?
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
how cute.
So let's hold those up high. There we go. We'll put these underneath, and you can kind of see how they're transitioning from the dyed yarn into the socks.
Yeah, they look nothing alike though, do they?
No, the dye spots end up being kind of like a stripe or a speckle in the yarn.
Yeah.
I think they're really cool.
The stripes kind of show up the
Yeah.
same, don't they?
Yeah, the green
Yeah.
stripe in here shows up in there. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I'm having a lot of fun with that. When you knit with this crinkled yarn, your gauge is a little wonky.
Yeah.
You get some stitches bigger than others.
Well, look at the yarn,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. But after you wash it, some of that crinkle goes away.
And you're knitting them 2 at a time.
I always do. Yeah, 2 at a time. But and I'm doing the magic loop, and I think people who know me will know how much I've said I don't like magic loop. I really don't. I'd rather use 2 circulars. But I'm doing magic loop because of these Chiagu needles.
Right, you're
Yeah.
using the new.
Yeah, I've
needles.
got them right in my. Well, I love them because they're micro
Right.
and they fit in my tiny little project bag. A
Right.
gift from my friend Robbie. Thanks, Robbie. And these are just the best magic loop
Right.
sock needles.
So for
going.
anybody who knows us, you know that we're Addie girls.
Yes.
Except that Addie doesn't have an interchangeable sock set.
No.
Right?
No.
This is the only company that we could find interchangeable sock sets. And
Yeah.
we brought one in to try it, and oh boy,
Loved
we
it.
kind of fell in love with them. So talk to us a little bit about the interchangeables, because I
Right.
know a lot of people are saying, well, why do I need an interchangeable set? I use 2.25 all the
Right.
time,
Right. So this one goes from, you have a 1.5, 1.75, a 2 millimeter, 2.25 millimeter, and a 2.5 millimeter. And I don't know if you can tell here or not, but I have one 2.5 and one 1.5, and I've got the pairs in here for the
Right.
rest. And that's because when you work with interchangeable needles, the beauty of it is that you can put a really small needle on one end of your circular.
The feeder? I call
Yeah,
it?
yeah. And then you can put whatever needle you want to knit with on the other side. When you push this needle in, the needle that's sitting in your left hand, no matter how you knit, is always just holding the stitches. So they mount up really fast like that. And then you
Because
bring
it's
this one
so
around
tiny,
to knit
right?
with it. Yes, yeah. And that just makes sock knitting a lot faster.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to struggle to push those stitches up. The only downside to these needles is that they're screw-on instead of click.
Oh.
And that's why I love Addie's, because they click on. So every now and then, you just have to make sure that they're screwed on nice and tight. HyaCynth has included a couple of little tightening tools for you, including a little rubber heart that you can use to make sure they're on good and tight. But I find if you're magic looping, probably like twice every sock, I'll take a moment to tighten them up. Yeah. But you don't want to. I don't want to screw them on so tight that I can't get them off again.
Yeah.
So I love that. The other thing that this is really good for is some sock knitters, like Lucy Neatbee, will ask you to pick up 2 pairs of needles. They'll do the cuff in a smaller needle. But Mittens is another good example, right? You might get a call for a 2 millimeter needle for the cuff, and then a 2.25 or 2.5 for the hand.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that.
Well, remember Kat? Didn't she do the underside of her socks on?
I think that was me.
No.
Yeah. I don't think. Well, maybe Cat 40 does, but if I'm, you can't do that with Magic Loop. But if you wanted to set up 2 circulars, you could have a 2 millimeter needle on the bottom of your sock and a 2.5 millimeter for the top of your sock. And you can do 2 circulars with your interchangeables. In fact, you can still have the smaller needle on one end and the larger needle on the other and make 2 circulars that way. Yeah.
I just remember her talking about using different needles to make the top of the sock, smoother, lighter fabric.
Right. Yeah.
And then knitting it tighter on the bottom.
Right.
For longevity.
Yes. So there is one sort of issue with that, and that's that your gauge is different. So you may find that if you do the entire bottom of your sock with a smaller needle, because that's what I like to do all the time, you'll find that the bottom of your sock is slightly smaller than the top of your sock. But when you put it on, I don't think you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you were doing, you had some repairs too that you wanted to talk about, right?
So I love these needles, and I think the whole set just makes life a lot easier because you have everything in your tiny, tiny little pack that fits inside your little sock project bag.
Small?
Yeah, it's just it's perfect. So now the other thing we've been doing is some videos. We try to do a YouTube video once a month on some sort of tip or technique that
customers are asking.
Yeah. And so that's the other sort of disappointing thing about socks is that you put all that work into them and then you find out that they've got a hole in them.
Sometimes, you need to patch.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've done a couple of videos. One is on how to repair socks using duplicate stitch. So I brought these socks in. They've both been repaired.
Oh, you can't even tell.
Really hard to see. The repair is just done in... This one's been done in duplicate stitch using the same yarn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you feel it more than see it?
You can feel it a little bit when you first put them on because it's a little bit thicker than the rest of it. But here's the thing. You're repairing a really thin area of your sock.
Anyways, yeah.
And so if that part's a little bit thicker, it just feels like a little cushion under your feet.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. So my first... When my socks start to wear through, if I put my sock on and you can feel the floor underneath you, it feels like a hole, but it's not quite a hole. That's the time when you can repair it with duplicate stitch, and that's.
Do you have one to show us that looks like that?
That's these ones. These ones are.
Oh, you fixed them already.
Yes, I
actually have a few pairs I was going to give you. Maybe you could fix them for me.
I might be able to do that because I have this other technique. It's called a knitted patch.
Oh, I love that. You got to watch this video she did too. It's so good.
And this is a really quick way to repair a hole in your sock. And so you can see...
this is where the whole bottom's blown right out, right? Yeah.
This is a sock that I made. This green part here that's wearing out is 100% merino wool. And it doesn't last as long.
No,
it gets holes faster. That's right. So every time I get a hole, I just repair it. And I do my husband's too. And he says, I like it when you use different colored yarn because it looks like it's patchwork on the bottom. And he thinks that's really cool. So that's what I'm doing with mine as well. If I'd done it with the same color, you probably wouldn't even notice it. Now, again, this does feel, you can feel it on the bottom of your foot because it is a patch and it does have a bit of a seam on the inside.
But it's better than re-knitting the whole sock, right?
Yeah. And I swear, once you've worn them a couple of times, everything just mats down and you don't notice it at all. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
But I think it just looks very neat and tidy, and that's what I kind of like when I'm repairing my socks. And
do you use one of the eggs?
I do. I use a darning egg. Yeah. It makes it easier to pick up stitches.
To see them.
Yeah. And then I have a Susan B. Anderson heel in here. So, but you've already shown yours.
No. Let's see what you've got.
So these socks fit me.
Those are pretty.
Yeah.
They look like they've been felted a little bit.
Yeah, they've been
washed.
They've been washed.
Yeah.
And I used a different yarn
for the
that heel. Yeah.
Nice.
When I put these on, they're a little bit tight across the instep.
Me too. I think we have a high arch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much that they're cutting off circulation. All right, so those
What
are my
else
sock
you got?
repairs. And then, I thought this was kind of cool too, Barb. We were talking about yarns that use no wool.
Right.
We're talking about Kobasi.
For summertime?
Yeah. And we have a pattern for toe-up sock without an afterthought heel, this one's with an actual heel. And I brought in the socks that we used for that. We did this pattern probably, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years ago. So this sock has been on my foot and through the laundry several times. Yeah. And you can see the colors faded a little bit, but it is not wearing through on the bottom. It's just
that's
nice
really
and
nice to see, because you never know, do you?
No.
When you're buying yarn, you just kind of never know about.
Yeah.
So Kobasi is a great yarn. Cotton, bamboo, silk, and nylon. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
You got one there.
And then this is Kobasi, same pattern that we're holding up here. This one's done in a multi, in a striping yarn, with a different color heel and toe.
Right.
These ones haven't been through the washing machine. They're a store sample.
Right.
But
I think that's this shade too, isn't it?
Yeah.
So here you can kind of see how it stripes up.
And look at this. So when you try to do socks with cotton, it doesn't have any stretch. This has about 25 or 28% elastic in it, so it's nice and stretchy.
21 elastic nylon, 8 silk, 55 cotton, 16 bamboo.
And it goes through the washer and the dryer really well. Yeah. So nice for summer.
Nice alternative for somebody too who doesn't want wool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We carry this in a million colors too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've done all kinds of projects with it. So it's really fun. So our pattern is called the Stretchy Sport Socks Toe Up. It's available on Ravelry or here in the store. Yeah. And this is a toe up sock with an actual heel flap. So you don't have to, so for those of you who have an instep that needs a little more stretch, this is the pattern that we like.
Well, I also like that you wrote it with 3 sizes.
Yeah.
You've got for kids, youth, women, and men's.
Right.
So yeah.
And if you've got a size of foot that's sort of in between, you can make adjustments as you go. These are kind of like guidelines.
Yeah.
And you're totally welcome to fudge or hack our patterns at any time, right?
Right. Yeah, so Cynthia went and grabbed a few colors of Kobasi that they're just really fun, beautiful, bright colors. That's this one. But they come up with a palette of really nice pastels and neutrals as well. And a line of sort of striped socks, right?
Yeah.
Like these kind of go into a bit of a striped pattern.
Yep,
Very fun yarn.
Yeah. And you need 2 skeins.
Right.
50-gram skeins, so 2 skeins to do a pair of socks.
These yarns also make great kids' clothes too. Diane, who is the rep for this yarn, showed us a little girl's dress that was knit on a 4.5 millimeter needle. So the yarn just kind of adapts so well on a 2.5 or a 3 or 3.5, even a 4. She just made, I think she even used different needle sizes. So the bodice of the dress was done in like a 3.5, and then the actual skirt was done in a bigger needle, and it turned out beautiful.
Right.
So what do you got there?
This is another one of our favorite sock yarns. Let me take that from you.
Okay.
This is
Tough Love Sock. So the reason we're talking about this is it's sock yarn. Yep, people use it a lot for socks, but it's also used for shawls and tops and sweaters and skirts and a little bit of everything. And we just got restocked. We have, I think, 28 or 30 colors of Sweet Georgia. So we've got a beautiful collection right now.
And
Party of 5. So if you haven't tried this, you got to try this. This is the funnest yarn. What Felicia has done is taken her sock base, wound it into minis, and then dyed it into gradient kits. So these are so much fun. Somebody bought one of these today to do the little top-down baby sweater in.
Right.
They're actually going to do grams.
Oh, yeah.
But do it a tin can knits pattern and do it in gradients.
Okay. Yeah, well, like flax up here on the wall.
Yeah. That's right.
Right. Yeah.
That's
So
such a cute
yeah,
pattern.
it's so this allows you to create your own stripes. I like to call it controlled striping.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
and
yes.
have some fun with it.
And there's enough in here. If you were doing socks, there's enough in here to get 2 pairs of socks out of it. You might have to be careful a little bit about the height
Right.
of your socks, but there's 105 yards per skein.
That's a
So,
lot, really,
yeah.
when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's over 500. That's kind of like kaleidoscope,
Right.
right? So we kind of did our own little gradient kits last summer too, with the help of Krista from Rain City Knits. We supplied some base to her, and she's known for bright colors. So she developed these for us, and these are so much fun. We took different shades and made them into minis. So there's 5 mini skeins in here. Each one have 30 to 35 grams, 100 to 125 meters each. So you've got about 500 meters in here, so enough to knit a big pair of socks or whatever, right? Here, yeah, look at that. That's really pretty.
This is a little.
You did that one,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. This is Liesel, a little Liesel by Isolde Teague. A baby bonnet, 2 baby bonnets. This one is supposed to be like Princess Charlotte's bonnet.
Right.
Oh no, this one is. And then this was
okay.
a pretty crocheted version that I liked. And I still have yarn left.
Really?
Yeah.
So you didn't even use up the whole kit?
No.
I know we really erred on the side of being generous with these. They say 30 to 35 grams, but somebody weighed theirs the other day and they all weighed over 40. So we just wanted to make sure that no one ran out, that they had lots of yarn.
Right. This yarn is not on our website. So we should take the time to
I
show the
think we're
colors.
going to be putting it up in the next day or two.
Oh, okay.
Because Eldon and I took pictures for us.
Guess whose job that is.
Yeah. Oops, forgot to tell you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's some pretty colors, right?
Do you have a favorite?
Well, I'm kind of partial to blues.
Yeah,
I
although
like the blues.
this goes really nicely with what you're wearing today.
Well, it does, yeah.
Mhm.
You know what else I think would be really fun is to take a skein of black
Mm.
and Sabrina right now is doing granny squares and she's got a blanket going on that's really bright, but she's taken each square and outlined it in black.
Yeah.
It looks fabulous.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put these back.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about knit-alongs, like things that we're going to be doing this summer.
Yes.
And we've got a new one coming up with Ann Budd.
Well, it started already.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what we thought would be fun is to talk a little bit about Ann Budd and socks.
Mm-hmm.
Ann's got a couple of great books.
This is the best book
Isn't it?
ever.
I know.
If you've
I have
never
this-
knit socks before, this is the book.
Mm-hmm. I have this one in my library too, and I love the way it's organized. It's done by stitches per inch,
Mm-hmm.
so it's really nice.
But the first quarter of the book is all about how to knit socks and the different ways you can knit socks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last 3 quarters are all patterning.
Right.
Yeah. And you can knit the same sock in about 5 different gauges. So you don't have to worry about swatching. You can
Right.
just cast on and see
And
what you're doing.
Then there's this too. This is really cool, right?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, though this is the Ann Budd. It's her
Ruler.
gauge ruler. So you hold it. You hold it on your garment. You hold it on your knitting. Hopefully, it's on the table and not on your body.
Yeah.
And you line up the ruler until the stitches match. So the little V's that are on the ruler will sit over top of your knit stitches. And when they completely overlap the stitches, you know how many stitches per inch you're getting. It's done in inches. So there's
Right.
everything from the smallest gauge is
4 stitches is the biggest,
Okay.
to 9 stitches.
Yeah. And it's just a really nice little ruler as well.
Yeah.
So you have inches on one side
Right?
and inches on the other side because Anne's American.
Yeah, where's those centimeters?
And
All
then
right.
the other one is really cool too. It goes in these handy books. So Anne's got, I think, 3
Right.
handy books. There's the handy book of patterns, the handy book of sweaters, the handy book of top-down sweaters.
I brought this one because it's got socks in it.
Right.
So, yeah.
And this ruler, so these books are set up with charts. And the charts give you every size and 3 or 4 different gauges. I won't go to socks, but there you go.
Right. So you follow your pattern, and depending on the number of stitches that you want, that you're knitting, what your gauge is, that's how many you would cast on. And then the next section is how many you would knit. And she's created this handy little ruler so that depending on what size you're doing, you put the ruler in, and all of your instructions are kind of highlighted straight up and down. So this works in all of her handy books. Every one of her books is set up in this same format. So this ruler is kind of ingenious.
Mm-hmm. And then you always know what page you're on as well.
Yeah. We should have one for every book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I kind of tell people this is the only book you know, if you were stranded on a deserted island with just knitting needles and some coconut yarn, this would be the only book you'd ever need to make all these things.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So what are you going to make for the
So
end
for
by knit-along?
For the knit-along, I'm doing her Turvy Topsy socks. This is a sock pattern where you can knit them from the bottom, from the cuff to the toe, or from the toe to the cuff. And I like to do 2 at a time. So I'm going to do 2 toe. I'm doing toe up, 2 at a time. And I haven't got very far yet.
So you're doing both of them the same way?
I am.
You're not going to go
no
one from toe up and one from top down?
I was thinking about it, but I changed my mind.
Oh, okay.
So I'm using Adam and Eve in our colorway.
Okay.
This is Starry Night.
Yes.
Yes.
Inspired by Spock and Captain Kirk.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also, as we talked about before, I'm using 2 different sizes of needle. So these are my Addies.
Oh, cool.
And I've got a 2.5 and a 2.25, or a 2.75 and a 2.5. So the bottom needle is smaller than the top needle.
You're doing exactly what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like that.
I don't know what I'm going to do for Anne.
You're going to do a skirt.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I keep having yarn thoughts, dreams about what yarn I'm going to do my skirt in, so I can't make a decision yet.
Well, if you haven't started the skirt yet, you probably won't finish it in time for the end of the cowl, but that's okay because it's not about that.
I thought you were going to say I won't finish it for when Anne gets here.
You will. You will.
Yeah.
I may just.
You'll have to send me on vacation.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I knit best when I'm on vacation.
Always plugging for a vacation. I can't complain. You worked really hard today.
That's right, I did.
Yeah. So that's our Anne Bud Knit Along. And then in terms of other events that we've got going on at the store, next month in July, we do a big Christmas in July event.
Right. We start early, right? Because, the fall goes by really quick. If you don't start in July for Christmas knitting, you might not get...
It won't happen.
It won't happen.
Yeah.
So show us what you got.
Well, I brought a few things just to get you inspired. We love Christmas, and we're not just about knitting. We're also about crocheting, so we've got some fun things happening. Debbie is going to teach our fuzzy foot socks. These are felted slippers.
Hudson's Bay inspired.
Yep. And when you take the class, if you finish both slippers, you can actually felt them here at the store because we have a great felting machine here.
Right. Yes. The Wonder Washer.
Yeah. Jan is teaching a class on crocheted ornaments. So this is a pattern designed by another Edmonton designer, Stephanie Lau. She's all about Ami online. Yeah. And Jan is one of our crochet instructors. So she's going to teach these little Christmas ornaments. When you take this class, everybody gets a kit to make one ornament. And then we have more kits for sale as well. And Suzanne, another one of our instructors, is doing this. This is an advent calendar mitten. So you make 24 mittens, and when you're done, you'll have a perfect little pocket for all of your advent treats. Each mitten has a number knitted into it. So in this class, you're going to learn stranded color work, and you're going to make just adorable mittens.
Now this number 16.
Yeah, she picked that one. She liked it.
Yeah.
This mitten's bigger than the actual size in the design because we're giving everybody a kit with a bit of epic yarn in it. We thought it would be easier for your first mitten to knit it a little bit larger, so you're not struggling with the tiny stitches and the small needles.
And epic's a perfect yarn for color work.
And
right?
doesn't it feel great?
It feels great.
This mitten has been washed once. And
you can almost put it on.
So if you don't make 24, you might have like 12. And
it's like a little
you have
oven
6
mitt.
pairs of mittens for Christmas.
Those are cute.
They're really nice. Yeah. Barb is teaching the woolly wreath.
Yes.
And that's a fun class too. Now I brought some garland, which is what you do with all your leftovers from the woolly wreath class.
So you've done yours in green. Normally we've got these in white.
White or red. Yeah.
And you've got sparkly yarn in here too.
Well, this was a stash buster for me. So I started
this
with...
looks great when it's, along the fireplace or down the stairs.
Okay, so I've
wrapped around your shoulder.
I've got a lot of garland. I put this on my the banisters to my steps leading up to my house.
You could just wear this as a necklace.
You could. You can wrap it around anything. You could wrap it around a pole. You can wrap it around banisters. And I like it because in the wintertime it's cold. So if I wrap this around my metal banisters, it makes it look cozy.
Oh, yeah.
And if you did actually put your hand on it, it wouldn't stick.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose you'd have to lick it.
Do we have the wreath?
We do in the back. It's packed up in the back. We'll have to pull it out for the
We have a wreath that's really pretty. We'll have to post a picture of it because it's really a nice project to do.
Yeah. So
what else have you got there?
That's one of the things Barb's teaching. And then Cynthia every year teaches Christmas stockings. Just let it fall on the floor. These are Christmas stockings. It's a pattern by Cascade Yarns, and we use Cascade 220 in it. And these are just some different designs. And, some other yarns sometimes creep in there. So I can see there's some Malabrigo Rios in here.
Oh, yes, and some glitter.
Yeah.
Gotta love the glitter.
Yeah. So, we're just going to have, the month of July is completely dedicated to Christmas knitting. And that way you get a lot of it done before before the big fall panic.
Yeah. Show me Rachel's.
Rachel's?
So you've got little tags on here too. So these for all the kids in her family, grandkids.
Yeah, there's
Look
Hayden.
At how cute.
It seems to me it doesn't really matter what colors you use as long as you have a little bit of red or a little bit of green.
Right.
And then you can pop in whatever colors you want. This one doesn't even have, this is red. Yeah.
Who did the tags?
That's me. I cut up Christmas cards and wrote their names on the other side. Thanks.
Cute.
And so that's about it for Christmas in July. We have lots of classes and there are pictures on our website. Okay. So if you want to register for any of these classes, go to our website now and get signed up. Do it in June. Sign up because if some of the classes get full, we might hold second sessions.
Yeah, I think you've already put them up though, right? Some of them are already registered.
Yeah, they're all there. Yeah. Which brings us to our final little thing in our podcast, and that is
Flash mob.
Flash mob. What do we got this
month? We've got like 5 seconds left, so we'll be really quick. So this month, every month we have a flash mob, and it's kind of a special yarn that we bring out in a limited edition. So we chat with some of our dyers, we give them inspiration photos, and they make us these surprises. So in the past, you would have seen Tracy and Jody from the Grocery Girls gave us inspiration pictures.
Right.
And we had Yarn Inc. dye yarns for us.
And Fleece Artist.
And Handmaiden. And this time we asked Richard DeVries to do a colorway for us. And
did you give Richard an inspiration photo from Tracy or Jody?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have a very kind of special relationship. They're always bugging each other.
Yeah.
Or Tracy and Jody are always bugging Richard on their podcast. So that's funny.
Yeah. So Richard, I think she calls him Dick.
I think she does.
It's
all in good fun.
Yeah. I gave him this. This is Jody's inspiration picture. He's
Can I
got
hold it for you?
Tracy's and he has ours as well. So we're hoping that this month we've got Jody. Next month we'll have Tracy. And then the month after we'll have us.
All right.
Ours. So this is kind of a picture that Jody picked. She said, do it everything except the greenhouses. So he had to leave the greenhouses out. So here is what he did.
Was this Pepino?
Yes.
Okay.
So this base we love. We have it in our store. We sell tons of this yarn because it's so beautiful. It's 100% merino, fingering weight yarn with a high twist and with Richard's signature color. So this
Barb, I did an Ann Bud skirt out of this yarn, out of
That's
Pepino.
right. Yeah.
So here it is.
Yeah. that, but
You
I think I might go with a little more neutral shade, but
if you
this would
did
be
want to
pretty.
do it, you'd need 6 skeins for the skirt.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, and this colorway,
Gorgeous.
it's so pretty. So it's filled with purples and blues. They've named it Luberon, which is a region in France that's known for lavender fields.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of course.
So
This is
such a
so
pretty
nice.
color. So if purple and blue is your thing, the 20th, yeah.
Next hair color?
See, yeah. The 20th of July,
June.
June,
Mm-hmm.
20th of June, 6 p.m. Check us out online. This will be here, I think.
So just another thing about Pepino, it's so squishy. It's 100% merino, machine washable. It's got a lot of elasticity in it. I love it in my skirt. And it gets a lot of wear. Like you're sitting on it. I hang it in my closet. And it just holds
bounces
up.
back.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that's really nice about these two is this is not a 50-gram skein, although it looks like it is.
Right.
It's 65 grams.
Right.
So you're getting 15 extra grams per skein.
206 meters per skein. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Okay, so how much of this do we have?
Maybe 50 skeins.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing how long
depends,
it lasts.
It depends how many skirts you want to make before.
Well, that's perfect. So June 20th, 6 p.m., the yarn goes onto our online store first, and then the next day it's available in the store.
If there's any
If there's any left.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for
Okay.
hanging out with us, guys. We're having a wonderful day, a nice hot day, and we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you online soon.
Bye.
Bye.